Welcome to a new edition of If I Ever Live to Be. Today, I am joined by Michelle Thomas, and we're just going to talk about a whole lot of things, a whole lot of super cool things. She's a mom. She's been married for 20 years. She has two children. She's a teacher, but we're going to kind of kick this off talking about how you got into the homeschooling realm and doing all fun, cool things with kids. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So tell us where you're at today, Miss in Mario Land.
So I am in my super cool, amazing classroom. Everything in here is decorated to look like old school Mario. I have behind me is the underwater Mario, but I've got King Koopa's castle. I've got Goombas along the walls. The one whole wall is nothing but coins and bricks. Our bathroom is all Mario. So,
how cool!
It's very dopamine inducing, and I am all about the dopamine, and it makes me very happy just to be in here. So,
I love it. I'm sure the kids do too.
Oh, they love it. The only thing they don't like is you can kind of see like all of my toys. Even though I'm 42, that is what I collect, and I don't let them touch them.
They'll understand when they're older. So how long have you been a teacher?
I have been running this school for almost 5 years, but before this, I owned a daycare for 4 years.
Okay. So you have a lot of patience.
Yeah, only with like kids up to a certain age. I do really well with like kindergarten through like about third grade, and I could not do middle school. I would be on the news, and not in a good way. I don't think I could do most high school. I do have one class I do for a really group of awesome teenage girls, but I think God brought me them specifically so that I wouldn't burn my school down. So other than, yeah, I do think I have such a heart for that age group that it makes it easy for me.
Yeah. When I would be remiss if I didn't share how we know each other. So we started out helping at the desk at our church for K through 5. But then we really got to hang out this summer at Surge Camp, which is our church's vacation Bible school, essentially. But
On steroids.
Yes, this on, the nth degree. And
Six Flags over Jesus.
Yeah. I love that. They should use that. But you led Silly Science, which was my track, and I had 4th through 6th grade girls, I believe. But we got to spend like 4 days together, and it was so fun. Like, I was learning things. We made really cool stuff. And I just loved, there were just even situations, how you handled it with the kids, and just brought out of them you allow them to be empathetic with one another, just sharing, I don't know. I just thought it was so beautiful that each child is different and they have different backgrounds. And we had all sorts of different, 3 different grades in there, and just the way that you taught and led them and let them speak. I mean, we had a moment where just the class got a little bit wild, and everyone just started sharing, their different stories, and it's like precious. I loved it.
That is where my heart is so much. I joke because I'd say 90% of my students are neurodivergent, and I am as well. I have ADHD, and I was just diagnosed with autism, like so many women right now in their 40s are just now diagnosed. But that is where my heart is. And so even my co-teacher, we joke and we're like, I don't really know how to teach neurotypical kids. I am all about the neurodivergent ones. So having and it was obviously a God thing, having so many kids in our class in silly science that, they were on the spectrum. They had different things. The fact that almost all of them, I could say, me too. I get it. I don't like loud noises. I don't like this. And it just, that made it a lot more meaningful and fun for me. I have several friends whose kids either had never participated in Surge because they didn't think that they would do well. They're part of the special needs ministry. And I felt so honored that they trusted me with them. And they're like, this is their first time. We're going to sign them up for your track. They're like, they loved it. They said, are you going to do different stuff next year? I'm like, it'll be the same class, but not the same activities. And so they're like, we're there. We want to do it again.
No, I loved it. It was so much fun. We just have so much to learn from children. I mean, or you know what I really think? I mean,
1000%.
When we're just quiet and we just observe how they navigate through life with unhindered perspectives.
And they're not jaded yet. And
yes,
it's with the girls that I have in here on Wednesday mornings, and I have another class Wednesday afternoons, like I just finished, that it's for teenagers. But I told them on the first day, I'm like, look, I remember I hated being talked down to, and I hated being treated like I was dumb because of my age. So I said, I'm never going to treat you girls. I'm not going to talk down to you. I'm not going to treat you that way. And they've told me so many times how much they appreciate that, how it makes them actually respect me. And we talk about how it is hard to show respect and be respectful to an adult, whether it's a teacher, even your parents, if they treat you totally different than they expect you to treat them.
Right. Yeah. So you and I were talking a little bit before I hit the record button, but tell us how you also got into like the homeschooling world and how all that works.
So when my son, he went to a private school for all of kindergarten, a Christian private school for all of kindergarten and half of first. And I had always thought that I either wanted to homeschool or we wanted to have him in a Christian school because we did not want to go the public school route. But I was always so scared about the social aspect. I didn't want him to miss out on that.
Yes.
And so when we ended up, we pulled him at the end of the first semester in first grade. And that whole thing doesn't matter. But so I told my husband, I said, I can teach. I just want to make sure that he's going to be social. So I went online that night and I created a Facebook group. I called it NEHC. So it was NEHC. So it was Northwest Georgia Elementary Homeschool Community. And I'm like, look, I'm making this group because I'm just starting homeschooling. I want to be able to like set up parties, places, field trips, clubs and stuff. And that was on a Friday night. And by Monday, I had over 100 members. And it grew to like almost 5,000. And
wow.
So I whittled it down. And so right now, 6 years later, I have 765 families, and they're all local. But the whole thing has been, I plan field trips every Valentine's Day. We rent out someplace. They make the Valentine's boxes just like in class. They bring them. We do Christmas parties. We had field day. There's literally absolutely nothing that a traditional public schooler gets to do that our kids, that they don't. And they actually do like 1,000 times more. And it blows people's mind because they always, when they think homeschooler, they think, oh, antisocial little weirdos, and your mom makes your clothes and churns butter. But in reality, they're like, yeah, we went on 25 field trips last month, and we rented out Sparkles for a party just for us. And then it's like, wait, that's kind of shattering the whole image of what I thought homeschooling was.
Well, with you as a teacher also makes it like extra special because this sounds. I'm like, when can I come? What classes can I sign up for? But I love what you do with both of your kids because you really have like two small businesses essentially with each one.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we have. We got a lot of hustles. That's what my
Yeah.
husband. He's like, y'all got a lot of hustles because we have this. I have my school here, and then I started the silly science with AJ. So I used to once a week, I had STEAM classes. So the science, technology, engineering, art, math. I was holding them here at the classroom, and we had a different theme every time. But I was like, man, I like doing it funny. Like, I really would love to be able to create some sort of like shtick with the silly, like a straight man and a silly character. But the co-teacher I had at the time, she was like, I'm not built for that. I'm too shy. And I asked AJ, I'm like, would you do that? He's like, yes, absolutely. And he loves science. So last, I think it was May, I came up with a character and designed a cartoon of it and tried to do a play on words. So I was like, what's something, it was like Mars, planets, chromosome, and I came up with Molly Cule. And he's Professor AJ, and so got my little lime green wig, and I literally just took the same classes that I was doing here once a week and started renting out the fellowship hall of a church here in town.
Oh, cool.
And every class fills up. I usually have like about 30 kids in there.
Oh, wow.
But I can combine my love of being with little kids, and I really like teaching science, but also use my comedy because I've been a stand-up comedian for this year will be 23 years. So to be able to combine all of that and work with AJ, I'm like, this is flipping awesome. I love this.
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot of what we got to do at Surge. Like, I remember us having so much fun. We were making volcanoes, and it's just a fun, interactive way to learn science. And I feel like that helps us remember it too, because it's more hands-on.
Oh my gosh, it is so funny you said that. The class that just ended with the girls, it's called Arty Pants. It's Arty Pants for Smarty Pants. And it's history and science, but everything is taught through art. And so I have a lot of kids that are dyslexic, ADHD. They're like some processing disorders that normally in classes like this, they don't like writing papers. They would rather gnaw their arm off than have to read out loud in front of people. And so I told them, I said, this is not about that. I'm not your English teacher. I'm not your creative writing teacher. I said, we'll learn different topics, and I said, you have to pay attention and you have to memorize it, or you're not going to be able to do the art project or whatever hands-on thing that follows. And their parents signed them up because they're all artistic kids. And they all agreed. They're like, yeah, I will absolutely memorize it and pay attention if I know that that's the subject matter that I'm about to have to do this art project on. So actually, what we're learning about Georgia State history. And so we did, they watched some videos, they learned some facts. I told him, I said, I'm going to treat you all like your big kids. If you think you can remember every single fact without writing it down, when we're done, fine. If not, I suggest you take notes. And the project was, have you ever seen those prints that are the outline of the state, but then the state is filled in with all the different things about him, like a peach. And so I showed them some examples of that, and that's what we did. And so these are kids that normally I could go over a lesson for 6 months. Then when it came time to recap it, they would be like, yeah, I don't remember a single thing. 20 minutes of learning about the state of Georgia. And so, like, this is one of them. They remember, like, the brown thrashers, the state bird, the Cherokee rose, the state flower, peaches. You got Coca-Cola, pecans, the white-tailed deer, all of this stuff. And it's all facts that they took notes on so that they would remember, so that they could do their project. And the same thing, the teenagers this afternoon, and they're like, yeah, this is much easier. We retain it when it's something that is going to be seen, heard, and touched. So.
Yeah. And then you have, so I have to bring, I keep calling it my Lightning McQueen pen, but it's really not my Lightning McQueen pen. But the little girl who's getting this for her birthday, she's not old enough to be on social media yet, so I can show this. But you made this, you and your daughter. So this is the business that you and your daughter have. And I just requested it. I was like, I've got a friend, my best friend's daughter loves Lightning McQueen. Her birthday's coming up in August. Can you make this pen? I mean, how cool is it? So tell us, Rainbow Lane is with you and your daughter, Avery.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So she has two little friends that they told her that they have a messenger kids so they can chat.
Yeah.
They kept telling her that they were starting a business, that they had a real store. And she was so jealous. She's like, how do they get a store? How are they doing this? They set up like a table in their garage and no one knew about it. But she was like, I really want to do that. And if my kids tell me they are interested and want to do something, I'm like, well, I will find out a way to make it happen. So I told her, I said, what do you want to do? And I've made jewelry for a long time. And so I showed her how, like, the pins, like I have one right here, are really big now, and that's something creative. And so she was like, we can do that and you can make jewelry. And I told her she got to name it. And so everything with her is rainbows because she's our rainbow baby, and she knows that and she loves it. And so she was like, I want it to be Rainbow Lane. I'm like, all right. I said, this won't be a table in our garage that no one knows about. I was like, baby girl, we'll do this. So
tell us a little bit more too about what that means, her being a rainbow baby, and inspired.
So rainbow baby, for anybody that doesn't know why they're called that, the rainbow that comes after the storm. So if you lose a child, then the baby you have right after that is called your rainbow baby. And so we lost our daughter Abby on September 15th, 2014, and exactly 1 year and 1 week later to the day, we had Avery on September 22nd, 2015.
Oh, wow.
So
that's beautiful, though, that she really wants to, because it's kind of honoring her sister.
Oh, yes. And it's one of those things we talk about Abby every single day.
Yeah.
The kids, they'll bring her up. Avery's like, I wonder what she looks like. And so she loves, and she's very proud of the fact that she's Abby's little sister and that she's a rainbow baby. I mean, it's not something that she just calls herself, but doesn't really understand what that means. Like, she really gets it.
Yeah. What I love, because it sounds like we talked about a lot today in a lot of different directions, but it all comes back together, right? It's all, it's really this beautiful tapestry that God's created, and a testimony to how he uses, again, going back to, how we're in the kid classroom and everyone's different, but yet, there's just that patience and that wanting to listen. I mean, we are that way when we're adults too. We go through life and stuff is hard. And God turns ashes into beauty, and
he will turn around everything for his good. I was just telling somebody day before yesterday, it's like every single thing that I do in my whole life, like every business, every job, because I've been self-employed for 18 years. Done a lot of different things, but I haven't worked for anyone. I don't think I could anymore. But every single one of them is a result of the stuff that I've gone through. So like, I started the class that I do with teen girls on Wednesday mornings. It's called Be You, and it's to help them work on their confidence and identifying healthy relationships and not healthy relationships. That's what it was meant to start as. It's turned more into like group therapy every week. But what I did on the first day of class, I told him, I said, look, I'm not going to talk to you or treat you guys like your little kids. And because I want you guys to trust me and to know when I tell you that anything that you could possibly think of to talk about that you might be experiencing, I've 1000% most likely been through. And through therapy and God and Matt, not in that order, it was actually like God, therapy, Matt, overcame all of it. And so on that very first day of class, I know that I overloaded them, but I told them every terrible thing about my entire life. And I said, I'm trusting you guys with this. I said, and I share it because I want you to see, here I am now. I'm, in my 40s. I love myself. I'm awesome. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. And it's so helping these girls and, it is a mental illness being, ADHD and autistic. So God's using that for his good because the kids that I work with, 90% of them are neurodivergent. And there's not one single negative aspect of my existence that he hasn't taken. And it's like, okay, Michelle, you're trusting me. You're trusting that I will turn this for something, turn it into something good. And so he does. I think every student that he brings to me, they come to me for a reason. Anybody that signs up for any class, like it's Silly Science or wherever it is, it's never a coincidence. And it makes me so happy. And it reminds me of how awesome and powerful and amazing God is. And one of my favorite scriptures, I can't think of the actual name and number, but it says, I want you to go out into the world and I want you to show everybody what I have done for you, like how I have helped you to overcome. So that's what I try to do. Is I'm an open book. I probably share too much, but I will tell people, this is where I was, this is where I am now. Nothing that I did. It's all 100% God. And I'm like, no matter where you're at in your life, and no matter how terrible you think you are, how bleak your circumstances are, if he can turn everything around for me, and I've ended up with this flipping amazing life, he definitely could do it for you, like for, whoever I'm talking to. But
I love that. So if we want to be a part of Silly Science, watch the movies, order something from Rainbow Lane, all the cool things that you and really the Thomas family are doing, how do people get in touch with you, Michelle?
So if you go to Silly Science with Molly Cule, it's long, but Silly Science with Molly Cule.com. It has all of the stuff to book us for Silly Science. On Facebook, if you just search Rainbow Lane, I think there's a couple of them, but it's the one that little white background and just sort of like pastel rainbow. and it has, the description says, a mom and daughter that like to craft and eat snacks and make things, and we hope you buy those things. So that's how you'll know that it's the right one. But yeah, that's how you can find us.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun. I knew it would be.